You may remember this slide from the last lecture on the periodic table. Hopefully you recall that we can find out a wealth of information about each element from looking at the table. For example, we can tell the atomic number of each element, or the number of protons. We can tell the element symbol, the element name, and the atomic mass. The elements in the periodic table are classified in different ways. Those elements that are in the same horizontal row are in the same period. The periods are labeled starting at the top and going to the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lithium and beryllium are members of the same period, period 2, because they are in the same horizontal row. Elements that are in the same vertical column are elements that are in the same group or family. The groups or families are labeled starting on the left and going to the right. Group 1, Group 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Nitrogen and phosphorus, because they are in the same vertical column, are members of the same group or the same family. Nitrogen and phosphorus are members of group 15. This periodic table looks almost exactly the same as the other periodic table you've seen, except for the presence of the red line on the right-hand side of the table. The red line separates metals from nonmetals. To the left of the red line, we see the metals. Some characteristics of metals that you're probably already familiar with are that they are generally solids at room temperature, they are generally good conductors of electricity, they are ductile, which means they can be drawn into a thin wire, and they are malleable, which means they can be pounded into thin sheets. To the right of the red line are the nonmetals. You may be familiar with the fact that nonmetals are generally gases at room temperature, and they are poor conductors of electricity. Touching the red line are the metalloids. The metalloids tend to share some of the characteristics of metals and nonmetals. You'll be responsible for knowing the names of some of the different groups or families in the periodic table. Group 1 is the alkali metals. Group 2 are the alkaline earth metals. Groups 3 through 12 are transition metals. Group 17 are the halogens, and Group 18 are the noble gases. The elements in Group 1 form cations with a +1 charge. Keep in mind that a cation is an ion with a positive charge versus an anion, which is an ion with a negative charge. Elements in Group 2 form cations with a +2 charge. Elements in Group 3 through 12 form cations with different charges depending on the anions with which they are combined. However, silver always forms a cation with a +1 charge, and zinc always forms a cation with a +2 charge. Elements in Group 13 form cations with a +3 charge. Elements in Group 15 form anions with a -3 charge. Again, keep in mind that an anion is an ion with a negative charge. Elements in Group 16 form anions with a -2 charge. Elements in Group 17 form anions with a -1 charge. And elements in Group 18 do not form ions. You must be responsible for knowing polyatomic ions, listed in this chart. Polyatomic ions are groups of elements that occur together as ions. For example, ammonium, NH4, is a polyatomic ion which contains 1 atom of nitrogen, 4 atoms of hydrogen. Collectively, these 5 atoms have a charge of +1. Ammonium is the only polyatomic cation that you will be responsible for knowing. The The rest of the polyatomic ions are anions. If we look at carbonate, CO3 2-, we see that this polyatomic ion is made up of 1 carbon atom and 3 oxygen atoms. Together, these 4 atoms have a charge of -2.